Happy spring break, everybody. I wanted to get at least one video in, maybe two this week while I'm on break. I want to talk a little bit more about the Big Bang and kind of give you an idea of how it's presented, how it's seen by the media, and to give you an idea of what they actually know or don't know about this thing called dark matter. So I'm going to give you some references here, some reference points, and then some articles which I will post in the links below in my comments or in my description. And then we'll briefly talk about how they're seen and show you that they don't really have evidence, and it ultimately ends up as a circular argument. So the Big Bang was proposed initially in 1931 based on Einstein's relativity and some other things that were observed early on. It actually did not catch on because Sir Fred Hoyle and some others had proposed something called the steady state theory, which later on fell out of favor with just about everybody. But the term or the phrase Big Bang is actually started off as a title of derision from Sir Fred Hoyle to kind of mock it or whatever, and it just kind of caught on and stuck, and so it became popularized. But in 1931, the idea of this explosion way back in time to create the universe was first proposed, and then the steady state theory had to be dealt with and fell into disrepute, and so they brought back the Big Bang. And one of the things that they proposed was that there isn't enough matter or energy in the universe to support the Big Bang as it's understood today. And so they invented this idea of dark matter and dark energy as a kind of placeholder for that. They don't know anything about it. It's not measurable. There's no interaction with electromagnetic force. There's no interaction, as far as they know, with strong or weak forces. The only one that they propose that it might interact with is gravity, so that the Big Bang has enough matter to actually do the things that the Big Bang is supposed to do within the model. But we're going to see that there's no actual evidence of that happening. It's based on some assumptions. Today I want to give you an idea of what it's actually viewed by in the scientific community. These are the people that actually hold to the Big Bang. At the beginning of the school year, I gave two articles. We were in this intensive reading thing where we really focus a lot on the reading in our classes and drawing meaning out of articles and trying to critically analyze those. So I presented two articles to my students written by the same guy, and they were written about 2 weeks apart. One of them was April 1st, 2017, and one of them was April 13th, 2017. And the first one is an article that says that dark matter or dark energy may not exist. And then the second one says, hey, we might have some evidence that there's some dark energy and dark matter if it exists. And then it actually references the first article in the second. And so my students were supposed to read both of these and come up with their analysis of what they thought about the two articles so close together, written by the same guy in the same journal, and being essentially contradictory of one another. And then today, across my Facebook feed, ironically, another article comes across, and I'm just going to read bits and pieces of this to you. It's from Grapevine, and it's by Ilana Strauss. It's dated Monday, March 5th, 2018. It says, scientists think that most of the universe is made of dark matter. If you don't know what dark matter is, that's okay. Neither do scientists. Dark matter is a mysterious substance that does a really good job of balancing out astronomers' equations. It's a mathematical placeholder, an interstellar John Doe. So nobody knows what the stuff actually is. As my college astronomy teacher put it, it could be dirty gym socks. No one has actually ever seen dark matter. And then he goes on to say that they're talking about these two guys that might possibly could have discovered it, and it's worth 2 Nobel Prizes if they have discovered it, but probably not. It's a lot of hype. The article is somebody looking to write about something, but they haven't actually discovered anything. They're just talking about the possibility that they might have. And then it goes on to say, long ago, before the first stars in the universe formed, everything was just a gaseous swirl. Of course, they're saying this as if it's true, even though they are talking about things they don't have any evidence for. The scientists who conducted this study detected that gas, and what they found surprised them. The gas was colder than they expected, and what could have cooled it down? You guessed it, dark matter. The scientists think they found echoes of dark matter, not dark matter, just echoes of dark matter interacting with other matter. And then it goes down to the very bottom. They say at the very end, of course, here's your disclaimer. Of course, there are other explanations for their discovery. Maybe their instruments malfunctioned. Maybe an ice cream dimension opened up in the early universe and dumped a bunch of mint chocolate chip soft serve all over the early cosmos. We hope so. We really want to write that article. So you have here kind of a tongue-in-cheek, goofy article, but it really does a great job of showing that they really don't know anything. There isn't anything to report on because there's nothing there. It's not detectable. It's not something that we can hold up and say, look, here's a piece of dark matter, and show you that there's evidence for the Big Bang. And what they really are showing you in this article and everything else that you read about dark matter and dark energy is that they came up with the idea of Big Bang first. And then the models were not working because the math was not working. They didn't have enough mass. They didn't have enough energy. They didn't have enough whatever they needed for their Big Bang model to function. And so they made some stuff up, as you heard, a placeholder, so that they could get the model to work. And then they started using this placeholder so much, it kind of became real to them. It's like if you tell a lie that's big enough and long enough, it eventually is believed as the truth. Well, they did that to themselves with this dark matter stuff. And so they have this placeholder, and then they've told it for so long that they treat it as if it's true. And if it is proof, or they say that this is proof, dark matter is proof that the Big Bang happened. Well, that ends up being a circular argument. If the Big Bang is true, we need dark matter to be true. And then we say dark matter is therefore true, so the Big Bang is true. And they don't actually have any evidence for either. They just have suppositions. They have some stuff from the Doppler effect, the redshift, which is now in question, has been for a couple of decades now. The way that they're looking at the Doppler effect and redshift and quasars, which I'm going to get into in another video. All of these things that they base the Big Bang on are in serious question, and the really big problem is the only place that dark matter and dark energy exist in the entire universe is in their computer models. They don't actually have any direct evidence or empirical evidence. And when you don't have empirical evidence of something, when you have to make stuff up and you have to keep making stuff up, this is one of the problems that Sir Fred Hoyle, the steady state guy, had, was he said that they have to keep making stuff up, and if you have to keep making stuff up to support your theory, you should probably toss out the theory, which he had to do with his own steady state because he was having the same problem. So if you really get down into it, and I don't want to get too much into the technical side of it in this video, I'll talk a little bit more about redshift and Doppler and some of that other stuff in another video. But if you really get down into the technicalities of dark matter and dark energy, you really see that it's nothing but smoke and mirrors. It's something that they just made up to support a dying theory. There have been so many nails put in the coffin of the Big Bang over the past, 50, 60 decades now, that they really should have just buried it. And they keep resurrecting it like some kind of crazy zombie thing. And we're still having to deal with it. And of course, the textbooks still teach it because the textbooks are way behind. And the teachers only teach what they were taught because a lot of them just don't go out and do their own research. Some of us do. Some of us, we're so fed up with the way that the textbooks are behind. It's problematic for us to even use them anymore because science advances so quickly and changes so quickly. But there's just nothing there. There's no evidence for dark matter, no evidence for dark energy. And if dark matter and dark energy don't exist, the Big Bang could not have happened by their own emission. And if there's no Big Bang, there's not enough time for the universe to have been here long enough for evolution to take place. And so the whole house of cards just comes crumbling down. So anyway, I'll post those links up in the comments here and up on the Facebook post. and you can read them for yourself, and you can see how silly they get, how circular their reasoning gets, and realize that it's just nothing but a bunch of fluff. I hope you guys have a great spring break. I know I'm going to enjoy spending a lot of it with my kids and just hanging out with them, playing with them and whatnot, maybe doing some spring cleaning, and then get back to the grindstone next Monday. Until then, y'all take care.